What's up, everybody? Salute to everybody that's currently in the chat. I know I was supposed to get started with this live stream at 5 o'clock, but I had to get my physical done today, and I wasn't home by 5. Then I just put it down to go live at 5:30. As you can see, we got started a little bit early because I was able to get home within the 5 o'clock hour. But yes, I did play the music from Us, and as you can see in the picture, that is a Us poster. And if you look at the title of the stream, it's called Black Overclass, The Tethered. How many people in the chat have seen the movie Us? That way you'll know what I'm talking about when I say The Tethered. CBP film, you're probably an hour behind me. It's 5:25 where I'm at. Well, for those of you who have seen it, you know exactly who the Tethered are, and that's actually going to line up today with a topic that I'm going to be discussing. And also, I have an announcement to make, but I'm gonna make that towards the, I guess you could say, the midway to or part of the stream with the announcement that has to be made. And also, you will be seeing the Streamlabs post different links. It'll be links to my Cash App, PayPal, and I believe my Patreon, if I'm not mistaken, throughout the chat. Make sure y'all hit any one of those up. Any little bit counts. And also make sure you have hit the like button if you have not done that already. But okay, let's just go ahead and get started. So yesterday, I had an encounter on Twitter. Now, those of you who follow me who are subscribed to me on my and see the community tab, there was a tweet that I had put out there. I'm gonna post it up on the screen eventually in a little bit, but I'm pretty much explaining it right now. And it's basically talking about ADOS, and basically if demands aren't met, that Donald Trump will most likely be president again. Now, let me go back a little bit right here. For those of you who have not seen Us, this is a little spoiler. The Tethered basically are people who were kept locked underground who looked exactly like people above ground. So it was basically like a doppelganger. And the people today who I have classified as the Tethered are foreign-born black individuals living in America. And those of us who are considered ADOS are the actual people, are the real people. In other words, they look like us, but they're not us. And that's going to segue into the discussion. Now, the reason why I've called them the Black Overclass is because many of them are allowed to come over here and get subsidies and different government, I guess you could say, aids over those of us who were actually born here. Set-asides of subsidies that were supposed to be meant for us, and we don't even see a dime of it. And then they'll have the nerve to say that we're lazy and, we don't work hard for anything like that. Well, if you've noticed, ever since the ADOS moniker has been created, there has been a lot of pushback against it. Now, notice that there wasn't really any pushback when black people are calling themselves black or African Americans or at one time Negro or even nigga. But the minute that ADOS has its own claim and they have demands that have been heard far and wide, now it's an issue. And one of those people, or one of those groups that have pushed back against us were foreign-born black individuals, mainly those who probably came from the Caribbean, like Jamaica or Trinidad or any of those places in the Caribbean. It may be some over in the UK. Now, I have done a couple of videos talking, about like if they don't support us, and everything like that, then just move out of the way. At this point, all you can do is support what it is that we're trying to accomplish or trying to receive, because we have been getting the short end of the stick for so long. And many of them are upset that we are finally getting our voices heard. It was a slow time coming, but it's finally has arrived. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna pull up this tweet that was made. Hold on right quick.
The big
Let me go ahead and make the screen a little bit bigger so y'all can read it. Okay, so this tweet right here was made by, well, the first tweet that I made that was retweet that I made is right here. This one right here, this is me. I said, if hashtag ADOS demands aren't met, it should have said met instead of meant, Trump will be your president for the next 4 years. And the beauty of it is that we don't even have to vote for him. Based on how stuff has gone down, it's already written. Now you had Talib Kweli Green retweet what I said, because apparently it got back to him, and he said Donald Trump says fuck reparations. Then he said y'all some idiots. Then he came back and said hashtag ADOS is trash. Hashtag ADOS is MAGA, Make America Great Again. Then he tagged Breaking Brown, which is Yvette Carnell. Then Tone Talks, which is Antonio Moore. And then Sandy Darity. And if y'all hear some rumbling in the background, it is like a rolling storm coming past where I'm at. It started raining as soon as I got back in the house. So luckily I didn't get hit. But it's kind of rolling past now. That's another reason why I didn't start right away, because I wanted to wait till that storm had passed a little bit so y'all wouldn't hear any kind of thunder and all that noise in the background. But yeah, but it doesn't surprise me that he said that, because he has literally gone on a full-blown campaign against ADOS ever since its inception. And as you all know, Talib Kweli is a foreign-born black person. He is not ADOS. He was not born here. He and his family immigrated over here. Now, like I said, this goes right into what I said about how foreign-born black individuals have an issue with what is being trying to be accomplished here. He sees a few tweets from couple people and assumes that that's what it is. I got a question for those of you in the chat. Does anybody in here support 45? Has anybody in here actually worn any apparel that says Make America Great Again on it? Because everybody who I have seen wear Make America Great Again on something, it was mainly, came from white people, no matter what the age. They could have been man, woman, boy, girl, whatever. Have any of you gone to a Trump rally, like when he was campaigning to be president? Because I know I haven't. And people that I did see go to it who were black, they were usually there protesting against it, although I kind of wish that they did not go there. Because a lot of the times it ended badly for them. Like they would be shoved around, pushed out, and everything of that nature. And that's not all. This is just the first tweet that I'm showing you. I'm gonna eventually pull up the thread that that went along with this post, because when he retweeted it and people got wind of what he said, then other people started leaving comments underneath it as well. As a matter of fact, some comments ended up getting removed by Twitter because they said it violated their policies. But I don't think it came from people that follow me. I think it came from people on his side that did that. So what I'm gonna do right quick, so y'all saw that tweet already. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to my Twitter account and I'm gonna show you the thread that he made. If the thing will load up on me. Okay, here it is. Now, see, this is the tweet right here that I made yesterday. Well, actually, 2 days ago. And you can see right here, this is the thread right here. Now, this one says this tweet is no longer available because it violated Twitter rules. So I don't know who actually wrote that. But I'm only going to assume it was from somebody from his side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to where it gets to his people and the stuff that they were saying. Okay. So you have this individual right here who goes by the name Joey Montana, or at scar underscore x underscore face, who called me a dumbass. Now I'm going to open up his tweet. That was, and shout out to Ashton Lewis. That was him replying to that post. And this one right here. Now this guy right here was the one we had a constant back and forth with right here, where this person named Comedian the DA said anyone okay with Trump being president is really a piece of shit. Now, where in my tweet did I say anything that I was okay with Trump being president? I didn't say it anywhere. I just said that if demands are not met, that Trump would be president again for the next 4 years. And I said we don't even have to go out and vote for him because it's already written. Now let's go ahead and open up his thread. Okay, I'm gonna read some of the people that replied. They said, then the Demon Rat Party must be a sewer when they said when Trump is a piece of shit. Then this person came back and said, ain't a matter of being okay, rather both are bad, so go for who promised you something tangible. Joe Biden is a racist just like Trump, so why would black people cape for him? And then I came back and said, niggas don't know how to read between the lines apparently. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This comedian guy came back and says, so what is Trump offering that is tangible? Then this is when it really goes into the whole thing right here. They said nothing, but he ain't voting for Trump. Basically, he was telling me, I'm not voting for Trump, just abstaining. How hard is that to get? The non-support of one does not mean the support for another. Then this person, that Joey Montana person, says, sure it does. See, let me tell y'all what they're trying to do. They're trying to, in a way, subliminally tell you that you need to vote Democrat. And you'll find out eventually, too. Oh, and by the way, someone actually sent me a screenshot of a post that Talib Kweli had made where he said Kamala Harris must be protected at all times. I wish I could find that post. If I can find it, I'll show y'all, because they definitely sent it to me. Then this person, the comedian, says, if the goal is reparations, how does Trump winning move them closer to accomplishing this? Then this Joey Montana says, beats me. These damn fools don't deal too well with truth and logic. And they said, not too well thought out, is it? LOL. And then I came back and said, and you two fools, what have the Democrats done but blow hot air in our faces that came out of their ass? Let me break it down for the slow people. I did not say to vote for Trump. I said if demands aren't met, Trump will be president again. Where did you hear me say vote? Then this person came back again and said, again, you dumbass, easily manipulated, loser in life, monkey brain, Russian bot. Let's look at that. This person called me a Russian bot. Now, what I have noticed is the people who have peddled that Russian bot thing were a lot of foreign-born black individuals. One of the first people I've ever heard say that was Joy Reid. Exactly, Poetic. They're trying to twist my words, but I can read right between the lines. They called me a Russian bot. They assume that anybody who has the hashtag of ADOS anywhere is a Russian bot, that we're all trolls. but they are the main ones who peddle that out. Then they said, how does Trump being reelected bringing you closer to your stated goal of receiving reparations? And then they put that gif up there saying, I'm so dumb. And they said, you really think I'm a bot? That's the best you could do. And again, I say no tangibles, no vote. That goes for anyone. 2020 will be interesting. I agree, Mark, when you said it was a slur from the beginning. They were trying to downplay the whole thing and assume that we were just all saying the same thing and that we were all just trolling. Then he comes back and says, I'm saying you're a dumb fuck, and all of you begging for spare change as losers will not get any closer to getting a handout if Trump is reelected. So listen to what he just said. He said he's basically saying that reparations that we are all demanding, tangibles, is a handout. Who else has been going around peddling that term saying that this is a handout? A lot of people in Congress have been saying it's been a handout. You've had other, like, that's whatever happened up on that hill with that so-called farce of a meeting was saying handouts. Let's see. Then I came back and said, begging for something that is owed to us. Are you foreign born? Because I think you may be. All this animosity. I bet you enjoyed that farce of a meeting that occurred over a week ago on the Hill. Now watch this next response. Yeah, dumbass, I'm foreign born. Checkmate. I knew it. I knew he was going to come back and say he was foreign born. Because I don't know not one person, well, with outside of those coons, who would not be for reparations. And I hate the fact that he kept typing dumbass with 2 Z's. Like, how old are you? What gender are you? Typing like a little girl. And last time I checked, dumbass was 1 word, not 2. Then I came back and says, figures why you're so upset about this. You know, outside of white folks, y'all are the biggest opposition towards black Americans receiving their tangibles. And it's such a shame. Let me see if there's anything else down here. Okay. Now, let's see what's going on here. I don't know what they were talking about. They were talking about Joe Biden. Let me see if there's anything that I missed. And I think that was pretty much it. But you pretty much see what they were trying to do. They were trying to twist my words around and come up with their own little narrative to kind of spin what it is that I put out there. Because nowhere in my tweet did I say that I would vote or we would vote for Trump. We already know what Trump is on. And deep down, we already know he's going to win. We all saw well, I didn't watch it. But that DNC debate they had last night, if that's the best they could do, then they already lost. And see, a lot of these foreign-born blacks are literally like aiding with these with the Democrats because they are starting to see that a lot of the Democrats are about to do stuff for them. Look at what Kamala Harris says she's going to do for DACA. Put them in Congress positions. Black media said black immigrants can't understand why we resent people who before 1968 were to the right of the decimal point in America's population, speaking for millions of black folks already here. Exactly. They don't know what we went through. It's no way that they could possibly understand unless they were there. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be completely honest here. A lot of foreign black individuals have this real uppity mentality. that they are better than those of us who are already here. Like, they'll be here for a good month and swear up and down that they founded the place that they landed on. And it's really a shame. Now, I have had some people who are foreign born came into my comment sections before and said, you know what, I'm not ADOS, I'm from so-and-so, but I will support you. And to those of you who have said that, I salute you. But the people like that who have tweets I've just read and then accusing me and others of being Russian bots and all of that, y'all can all be like the Tethered, find one of the four corners of the earth and leap off that bitch. That's what you can do. Now, one thing that I did want to show, and this is something that I found on my Yahoo Twitter, my Yahoo page, and it actually was this morning, and I don't think anybody or any of my subscribers sent me this. And I would have done it as a separate video, but since I was already talking about reparations, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about it on here. And I think y'all will definitely want to hear this. So, if you see right here on the side, it says slavery reparations could carry a $17 trillion price tag. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the volume of this thing, enlarge the screen, and play it for you so y'all can hear what they said and how they broke it down.
Some presidential candidates are also weighing in on that thought and discussing reparations for the descendants of slaves in the U.S. And Chris, I know you've been following the cost of what that might look like.
I always think of the cost.
Yeah, well,
right.
You always got to tally the cost up. American voters think about the cost too. So
right.
What actually is the cost?
$17.1 trillion.
Nothing.
Small pennies.
Pennies.
Pennies on the dollar. Oh, well, look, so we have first the unpaid wages that did not go to slaves. That's $12.9 trillion. And then you also have the lingering economic impact from Jim Crow, from redlining, from the criminal justice system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's $4.2 trillion, and we've got $17.1 trillion. So the big question isn't so much how much is it going to cost, but rather who is going to be receiving reparations and how exactly are reparations going to be paid out. This is not the first time the United States, I need to make that clear, the United States has paid restitution to groups it has wronged before. Native Americans, not at all the amount that they deserved or to the amount of people that they impacted, but Native Americans have received reparations. Japanese people that were in internment camps received reparations. So this isn't something that is necessarily new to the United States government. And right now we have this bill, H.R. 40, that's being debated in the House, or that received its first hearing in over a decade last week. And essentially that's what the bill is to find out. It's not necessarily to say we're going to give reparations, but it's to say who exactly should be receiving.
So who would it be? Who would get? How many people?
So right now they say approximately 30 million people, but still they have to come up with a proposal of who deserves reparations.
$17 trillion.
I don't know if it would
I would argue that as a white man in America, you've received the benefits that have.
That's what we're talking about here too.
But I know a lot of white men in America that, if you just looked at their financial situation and didn't see their color or where they came from, you'd be like, that guy hadn't benefited. Right here in New York, within 1 block of here, that guy hadn't benefited at all. He has no money in savings, has no retirement, has no investments. He doesn't have a home. He has an education. He's got plenty of debt.
He might not have benefited from America, but he certainly hasn't been harmed by it either.
Well, this is what we're talking about.
That is the entire part.
Yeah, but the question is, okay, my grandfather was born on a ship on the way over here. So he never had papers to work in the United States. And so he had to do things in the darkness of jobs in this country. So should he have been entitled something because somebody missed his papers?
Or you start to look at other people too. We talk about the immigration crisis in this country as well, and you talk about other people that might be impacted by whatever inequalities exist in this country as well.
It's not a new thing.
And you do start to realize, okay, if this does get applied, and as you mentioned, it has happened before, there's a historical precedent. The Japanese internment camps as well as Native Americans.
And globally as well.
Across the board.
Germany paid restitution out. essentially because of the Nazis, and they paid out to the Jewish people and to the state of Israel reparations. And actually, this bill has actually looked at proposals that actually would model a reparations payment plan, essentially, that would be modeled after Germany. Because lump sum payments aren't necessarily...
There'd be a huge economic boom if you distributed $17 trillion.
Yeah, we've seen that.
The wealthy people in this country are going to figure out, how do I get that money back?
But you're considering it as a lump sum payment. And a lot of people have said lump sum payments are not necessarily the best idea. What it is to take that money and to reinvest it into the black community, to allow black Americans to essentially regain some of the wealth that they were completely shut off from for hundreds of years. I mean, this is not the original sin that we can turn our back on that only lasted for 10 years. This is a slave trade that lasted for hundreds of years. This is Jim Crow. This is black people unable to buy homes. This is black people that are imprisoned.
You can also start to make the same arguments, too. I mean, if we're talking about inequality, the gender gap is discussed all the time as well. And you can start to make the argument that the same kind of inequalities that existed for many years, maybe women should also be.
They should.
We cannot,
women should be.
Politically, there's a lot of questions.
As a woman, obviously, I want to address, inequalities when it comes to gender.
Yes.
We cannot, however, describe we need to stop doing this game of comparison where we like to compare the plight of black Americans with other groups.
Politically, these are the questions that are going to be asked. If you start to pass this, this is what will hang in the balance here if you're debating this.
And I welcome the debate.
And I think
I welcome the debate. I hope.
While we need
Congress
highways and bridges.
Yeah. All right. Well, it wasn't the only thing. I mean, this was one important piece that was discussed last night on the stage. I don't know if it'll come back up tonight when we hit night 2. Again, there's a lot of candidates, a lot of pieces of debate to be had on that stage.
Some of the political candidates tonight have actually said they support reparations. So we might get a question on it tonight.
You might see it again.
We might not.
Okay. So y'all heard that right there. And the woman on the panel was the only one that was really making any type of sense. Like, she was the only one who made any type of sense. And yes, to y'all in the chat, the guy in the blue, he came out the gate early nervous as all hell. Oh, and shout out to Mark Black for the Cash App. But I want to go back to one part when they brought up the chart right quick. Yeah, but he definitely was like he hopped out, leaned up out of that chair when he saw that figure. When he saw that 17.1 trillion with a T, not billions with a B or M or millions with an M. He was like, wow. That's why he was like, well, my ancestors came over here on a boat and he may have lost his papers. Is he going to entitled to anything? No, he won't be entitled to anything. If he lost his papers, then that's on him. At least he had papers to gather. We didn't have any papers. And whatever papers we did have was drawn up for us. And it's not like we could read what was on the document. But on your screen right here, this total right here, this 17.1 T, is why they are losing their minds right now. $12.9 trillion of unpaid slave wages and $4.2 trillion for Jim Crow impact, labor market discrimination, health care and education, and the criminal justice system. Now, mind you, this is just from slavery right here. This is post-slavery right here, and even all the way up to today. The reason why they are so mad with this is because out of every group that has received reparations over the years, their figure has never even came close to that. Not even a little bit. Everybody who has received reparations, all of them capped out in the billions. They've never reached the trillions. But we have, as far as calculations go. And for all we know, yes, this could be a low number. But the fact of the matter is, it still has that letter behind it, that T. That's a lot of money right there. Like, this right here could carry you over for the next few generations. As a matter of fact, this right here, if dealt with properly, could send the black community or ADOS into being probably the next economic superpower if done correctly. And don't get it twisted. This isn't going to be This isn't going to be a one-time thing. Like who was that? Trinidad Onassis, when he said this is installments. This is going to carry over for years to come. If every other group can get multiple payments every year, then we're going to get ours every year. Cut the check, hashtag cut the check. Listen, that should be every black person's slogan for the rest of the year. Cut the check. Say it when you wake up in the morning. Say it as you're brushing your teeth, putting on your clothes, eating your breakfast on your way out the door. Put it on a shirt. But this is why many people are upset, because they see this figure right here. They want us to stay stagnant. They want us to stay in a very boxed in situation. That's what they prefer. That is from the colonizer and his cohorts. And by cohorts, I mean everyone else that's not white that has an issue with this. Now, I didn't watch the debate last night because I really had no interest. Like, I know they were not talking about much anyway. I'm like, if they're not talking about what's going to be specifically for us, why bother? But I did hear that Marianne Williamson was the only person who mentioned anything about reparations. As a matter of fact, I think she was the only person to mention reparations before, like months ago, before it really became more louder and more mainstream. The only thing with her is she's lowballing it. Like, her figure that she's throwing out there is too low. Like, she's stuck in the billions. We need that to be way higher than that. And see, another thing is this. Could you imagine? Let's just say we got the reparations today, $17.1 trillion. Our net worth as a community would surpass Jeff Bezos, who is the current wealthiest man in the world, who is the owner of Amazon. And I think his net worth is like $100 billion plus. Could you imagine an entire community of people being wealthier than pretty much almost everyone else on the planet, and we only make up a significant percentage? I don't really believe we make up 13%, quite honestly. Like, I figured like that's something they constantly throw out there. How in the world can a group of people stay at a certain percentage that low for that long? I don't believe it. Hey, Caressa, I bet you they did. I bet you they did, because they are all on that immigrant train. They are all on it. Now, I said that I had an announcement to make, and only one person knows about this announcement that I'm making, because I told him about it earlier today. Hold on real quick. And that is, well, first off, let me preface it. So I reached out to Jada Black who is a YouTuber. Many of you might most likely already know. Yeah, Phantom, I'm okay. It's actually a very good thing. It's not a bad thing. I actually reached out to Jada Black on Facebook because me and him are friends on there. And I had asked him because he does live streams as well. I think he uses Streamlabs if I'm not mistaken. And I had asked him, how do you do calls with your viewers? And he told me that he uses Skype. And I was like, okay. So what I did was, yesterday, I downloaded the Skype app to my phone. And I got a Skype number. And what I have decided to do is, since I'm using Streamlabs now and you can't do the panel type of thing unless you have a Discord, which I don't have, and you can't put people on a panel like if you had Google Hangouts. What I did was I got the Skype number, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have or allow my subscribers to call and voice their opinion about the topic being discussed. Mark Black, you said you use the Skype thing too? Yes, so that's the announcement. I'm going to allow my subscribers to call in, and what I'm doing right now is I'm currently looking for the number, and I had it earlier. Like, I'm still trying to adjust using this app. And then I'm going to put the number into the chat room, and then y'all can go ahead and call in. One thing I like is that this is not my personal number. This is not my personal number. This is a number that Skype gives you based on your location. So when people call me, I won't know who's calling until you tell me who it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find this number and post it into the chat, and we will go from there. All right, I just posted it. This should be very interesting. And don't be shy, because many of you like to talk a lot of stuff in the chat. This is your opportunity to talk on the phone. And then it gives me an opportunity to hear some of y'all voices. I wonder who my first call going to be. Hey, Poeticus, I thought they was... Oh, hold on. All right, this is 647. Who am I talking to? Hello?
Yes, Aaron is Victor. So I'm calling from Calgary, Canada.
Oh, you said you're calling from Canada?
Yeah, Calgary, Canada. Victor, the guy that owns the police brutality channel.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm good. Yeah, this is pretty clear. You know, it's all good. Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything to add to the discussion, or you just wanted to call in?
No, I want to add it's like I've been going through since the ADOS and reparation, right? The thing has been mainstream media, and it's always it's gaining global stuff, because even those in the UK and in other parts of the world are also talking about this reparation stuff.
Okay.
So there's a lot of what I found out, because I've been going through the news. There's a lot of backlash about it. Not a lot of people know about it, but a lot of people know about it, online and everywhere. And it's what I found out is that when they talk about it all the time, it's people just want to go against it. And I was planning to do a live stream on it anyway on my channel. I was thinking I'll do it this week, but I did 2 live streams on my channel. And I've been on so many angles discussing, we've been discussing about the whole thing and other stuff.
Okay.
What I found out is that the amount people, for the trillion, because to me, Tyree, seriously, $70 trillion is still very small for 400 years
Right.
of persecution. Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
like I was thinking 10,000 trillion of Bitcoin because one Bitcoin is 8,000 US dollars. So imagine times it by 10,000 trillions of Bitcoin. That's a lot of money because 70 trillion is way too small. It's way too small for 400 years of constant destruction of a people. And funny enough, because I know that definitely they're going to pay reparations, but it's going to be by the force of hand. Like they will have to lose everything because it's not just paying reparations, right? But also they will have this because this system of white supremacy, racism, and all kinds of stuff has to all go off. Like it has to be more than just paying money. They will have to give people land. They will have to restore generations and generations of families. They will have to go through everybody's record of generations of families that have been tormented and all the while. They will have to release brothers and sisters locked up in prisons for 30, 40 years. They will have to give compensations for those people that were, apart from reparation, they will have to give compensations to those that they were shot by police or they were killed by the system. Okay? They will have to sort out our young black children. There will have to be so many inquiries. It's not just be about money. It will be about so many things in general. And what that will have is that that effect won't just go. It won't just be. It won't just stay only in America. It will go also in South America, where you have a lot of our people there being attacked. They're also calling for reparations to also in Brazil and other places, and also in the Caribbean. We'll also get into that, nation. And what this will expose is to expose a lot of people that have been caving in for them against us all the time, and also in the continent too, because African colonial system was most of our grandparents and great grandparents were killed mostly by the British and by Europe, and they were tortured. Because I have pictures, showing all kinds of what it did to our great grandparents during colonialism, and also for our people also in Asia that are still going through genocide in West Papua, in East India. You have black East Indians that are being put at the lowest of the low in India and in other Asian countries. They have been killed. Those people are now rising up that they want justice in America. So this is not just. This is going to be a global uprising because we are everywhere on this planet. The four corners of the earth, we're everywhere. So people are rising up. People are standing up. People are fighting against the system. We may not be hearing it in the mainstream all the time, but at least platforms like this where we can, on YouTube, where we can, and on Black Junction and other platforms, we can, make all these things known to people. Because this is what, this system, this whole system has to collapse if they're going to pay reparations. And not just reparations, they're going to pay so many things, so many.
Well, the empire is definitely collapsing. Right now as we speak, and to be honest, I think it's been falling for quite some time. Because with that video I just did about 2045, maybe sooner, basically saying how they are, with their birth rates, and in Texas in about 2022, there's their population of white people are going to be below those of who are Latinos or Hispanic, and that's in 2.5 years. So we'll see what occurs there. But it's interesting that you did mention the Bitcoin, because you never know. They'll probably try to pull something and say, well, the dollar has completely collapsed, so here's your money. They'll probably try to pull something like that.
Yeah, that's what people. Once we get once we get our reparations, we need to start buying gold. Because gold doesn't depreciate. Gold is just constantly increasing. And that's why people should start thinking of buying gold bars and keeping in case of anything. Once we get that money, and people should think very fast because they know that because the thing that for them to pay us, they have to come down for us to go on top because over the years and for millennia, they have been prospering from our downfall. So there must be a switch. It's definitely, that's why I say it's going to happen by force of hand.
Okay.
And the fact that once we have those monies and once we have not just money, land, compensation of all kinds of, it's going to be much greater than what the Jews in Israel are accepting every year. It's going to be 10 times or 100 times greater. And the fact is that once we get those stuff, we need to start buying gold and keep it because gold doesn't depreciate. Gold bars,
Okay. Well, I appreciate the call. I have to get onto some more people because the line is just like blowing up right now, and some other people want to talk.
All right, no problem.
All right. All right, that was I guess you could say my first official call using this feature. I know somebody else was calling, they were blowing it up, but they couldn't get through because I was still talking. But if they call back, all right, we got somebody else. Let's see here. All right, we got 206 area code. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, D? It's your man Mark Black, brother.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on?
That you're doing this broadcast, man. This one's gonna be one for the record books. And I'm glad I tuned in. And yeah,
I'm glad you tuned in too because like you hold ADOS down to a T. And again, shout out to you for the donation.
I got to, fam. And I'll be honest with you. Thinking about the topic that you brought up, talking about the gatekeepers and all of that. What ADOS people, in my opinion, fail to understand truly is just two simple things, right? ADOS ain't about hating nobody. It ain't about chastising nobody about what they practice, what they believe in. All it is an acknowledgement that we, as the American descendants of slavery, have a shared lineage, a shared heritage, respective to our experience in this country. And two, that we actually are owed a debt. That's $17 trillion. And I agree with the previous caller, even though the caller didn't appear to be ADOS, and that's okay. People got the right to their opinions and comments and stuff like that. But I do agree with the previous caller that said that amount might even be lowball, right? When you look at the economic growth of America from 1619 forward to today, right, 400 years, the contribution of our ancestors as well as our stolen wealth is undeniable, right? This is precisely why they don't want us to be having this conversation, because what we're doing is we're bringing out the fact that all of these people here in America benefited and still do, regardless of whether they're immigrants or whatever the case may be, off of the stolen wealth generated from the backs of our ancestors and ourselves. Because I noticed, D, and you probably have heard this too. Have you noticed that when they can't deflect from the idea of the debt, that the first thing they pivot to is they just start talking about slavery. Right? They only try to keep it on slavery, as if we don't understand about debt peonage, convict leasing, Jim Crow via Plessy v. Ferguson, that we don't understand about the Red Summer of 1919, the destruction of Tulsa, Greenwood in 1921, lynchings, mass murder, disenfranchisement, mass incarceration, the drug epidemic. And this whole claim that we're advocating for, D, covers all of that, right? So when people are trying to come at us about this thing, it is incumbent upon us as ADOS proponents and advocates to know our data. We got to ground ourselves in the information so that we're able to have clear evidence to present to folk, right, that shuts all of the crap down. You see what I'm saying? Have you noticed that, D?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, we have to really know what we're owed for, because like you said, it's not just for slavery. Like it said in the video that y'all saw, it talked about unpaid slave wages, but it also went into Jim Crow and other things that happen as well. And when you really add that up, there's some other things that's probably missing, which is why it could still seem low ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although $17 trillion is still a lot of money. Although $17 trillion is nothing to just turn your back against. But yeah, I can see it most likely being higher, significantly higher than that. But the thing is, I can see that's probably the base. I can see that's probably the base level right there. Like nothing lower than that, but something higher than that.
I would say that it's fairly close, and I'll explain why. At the end of the day, we already know that this country is not interested in bankrupting itself to pay us back. Like justice, there ain't that much justice in the world for America, right?
Right.
It's going to be a slog for us as ADOS just to first of all get the political class and the economic class to acknowledge the debt, right? So we're still at the point where we're trying to get ADOS people to just cleave to their heritage, right? We're still having infighting and beefs about, this group versus that group and who's this and who's that. We still don't know how to answer basic questions like who qualifies. I'll give you an example, D. You familiar with Dr. William Sandy Darity's work? Am I right?
Yeah.
That report that I have, what we get wrong about the racial wealth gap. He collaborated on that. He also did 40 Acres and a Mule in the 21st Century, right? That was his work. Dr. Darity established a clear standard for who qualifies under a comprehensive reparations scheme. And the standard is as simple as all get out, right? After I say this, I hope nobody fails to be able to answer this question, right? His standard was this: if you can trace back one ancestor to an enslaved African here in America, in the United States, all right, and you have not officially deracialized yourself. In other words, on official documentation, 10 years prior to the advent of the reparation scheme, you have been classified as black, Negro, colored, African American on official documentation, right? It's driver's license, voter registration, whatever. You qualify, right? So we should not be having this discussion about who qualifies, because I'm hearing shit like, oh, well, mulattoes should only get. This ain't nothing about DNA. This ain't nothing about, because that stuff can't really be quantified in a fashion that makes sense, right? This is a simple standard that is exclusive as it can be while still encompassing the number of people that have been affected by slavery, Jim Crow, and so on and so forth. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah, so I hope that we, as ADOS advocates and proponents, do the hard work of getting our political education straight, getting a good grounding in the data, and understanding that America being in decline, one of the last things that they're going to do is to pay us reparations. Now, I'll explain why I say that. It is going to be one of the last attempts to try to save this country, right? This country, the people that run the whole show, they understand what's happening. They're not stupid, right? So they're going to make attempts along the way before this whole thing falls apart to try to save it. And one of those things is to finally pay the debt due to the American descendants of slaves. So all of those people out there that are saying, oh, well, these white folks are going to never pay us, right? Miss us with the naysayer bullshit. All right, it's going to happen. The thing that's most important for us to remember is this: whatever it is reparations ultimately check and other comprehensive things, right? The check is just the beginning. We do need to then focus on what type of future legacy we intend to build with that, whether it's remaining here, whether it's finding ways to repatriate somewhere else. That's perfectly fine. We can have those discussions. But trust me when I tell you, D, they're going to pay it. They're going to have to, right? It's either that or kill us off, and they don't have the inclination to do that. Otherwise, we'd have been gone.
Exactly.
So let's stop with the naysayer crap and understand how this thing works in a political and economic sense.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir. Much love to you, bro. Keep up the good work, man. I'm glad I was able to catch this one, and I'm gonna continue to watch with interest.
Okay.
And peace to my ADOS family.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, this unknown person who doesn't have a number up. Who am I speaking with?
Okay, buddy, I want to tell you this right here and right now. You're not getting any rep.
That was a troll. Should have known I was going to get one of those. And something told me that that was a troll too, because they were blowing my phone up the whole time Mark was speaking with me. All right, let's see who this is. 404 area code. I'm sorry, 404 area code. Who is this?
Hey, what's going on, Tori?
What's going on? Who's this?
This is Sean Lewis, your subscriber.
Oh, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I've been kind of a loyal subscriber. Well, not loyal. I've been subscribed to you since, I want to say, like 2016.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Then you then you are a loyal subscriber. You've been here since my original channel and the 3 that followed.
Yep.
So what's on your mind?
Well, this whole thing with this whole reparations thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna, like what the elder calls say, it's going to happen now. And I feel that no matter how they're gonna try to stop us from getting it, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get it, no
Right.
matter what.
Right.
And trying to think of something else.
Oh, okay. I was like, what happened?
I don't know how we're gonna get it. But
Oh, they
we're
gonna.
try
Oh,
to
listen.
get it.
They gonna pay what they owe. That's my new favorite saying from Riley Freeman on the Boondocks. They are going to pay what they owe. And like I said, they're scared because they see that figure. You watched the clip that I showed, right?
Yes, I did.
So you saw how squirmish the white guy in the blue shirt got when he saw that figure. That's how all of them are acting right now, for the most part. Like they're looking at that figure. Like I said, all the reparations that have been paid out to the various groups have never been that high. They've always capped out at in the billions. Ours is capping out in the trillions. Because we've gone through the most, as far like in this establishment for 400 plus years. Payment due, and you know what? I think our ancestors would be proud that this is even a topic of discussion right now. As far as it's gotten off of being online to now it's being on lamestream media.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I never thought that this topic would make it that far.
Oh man, we've been talking about this thing for decades. From King, from everybody else, all the way to where we are now. Our ancestors are in us, and they're blessing us to continue with the fight.
Right.
And to move on, and fight against it. Fight forward. stuff like that.
And you know what?
Yeah, the way the guy in that video was going.
Yeah.
And when I saw the screen, I saw how much money they were making off of us from slavery to post-slavery.
Yeah.
And everything else, though.
Yeah, because like Mark has said earlier when he had called in, this is not just from slavery and unpaid slavery wages. This is everything that happened post-slavery too, because we still was going through it after we were let go of the plant, like freed of the plantation, quote unquote, and still going through it now. And see, this is all, and also what they didn't throw in there, they didn't calculate the interest. Oh, there's definitely going to have to be some interest attached to this.
You're absolutely right. And the thing that everybody else wants to come over here and tell us that we don't deserve anything, yeah, fuck them.
Exactly. That's the one that's the one thing that's getting me about a lot of the foreign-born blacks who was like the main focus of this live stream is, you know, them pushing back. I said all y'all have to do is say you support us and everything like that. They're just upset because they're not going to get a piece of the pie. But the thing is this: if we really appreciate you, then when we get something and we set up shop, maybe there's a way that you could possibly, I don't know, benefit from it, but we are going to be the ones who are in control of it, not you.
Exactly.
Whatever we get is going to come to our hands. It's going to fall before our feet. Then when we are ready and shop is set up, then we will bring you into the fold. But as long as we have the control of it. But see, many of them are talking out of turn. They've gotten beside themselves. So now it's like we got to maybe rethink this thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that every person is like a Talib Kweli or the two clowns that I got into it with on Twitter. But too many of them are. Like going around calling people Russian bots, like really, that's an insult. That's the best you could come up with.
Yeah, the dude on Twitter, calling you a dumbass. His ass can't even spell the word dumbass.
Right, in more than one way, because it's one word, and he kept putting two Z's where it should have been two S's.
Right.
But I guess that's the the American public school system. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
I'll let you know, man, because I'm ADOS myself, though, and I deserve what is owed to me from my family. And also, I'm part West Indian too, because my dad's West Indian, so my mom was born in that.
Okay.
It's from the United States, so.
Okay.
So my lineage does come from the American descendants of slavery from my great aunt. So rest his soul, both of them are no longer here with me. So.
Yeah. But all right, I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, man.
All right, well, you have a good one.
All right, you too.
Yeah, it's getting real spooky out here for as far as this reparation talks go. I should have known that person was a troll because they called. Let me see something right here. They called me so many times when I was on the phone with Mark Black, that unknown person. Let's see. They called a bunch of times. I can't even see it. I think Isaiah James, I think anybody who's on that daggone grapevine is a clown for the most part. If y'all don't know what the grapevine is, that's basically like the podcast version of the griot. I think it's the griot. And the griot is nothing but a watered down version of the root. And we already know how they get down. You're right, Davies. It is trash. I posted the number again just in case anybody else wanted to call. I assume that the phone started ringing because some people probably didn't see the number. Oh, and by the way, now that we know that Trolls is watching, I will not be answering any phone calls from unknown numbers. You have to have an area code pop up for me to answer. If that thing comes up unknown and you happen to be subscribed to me, but you just don't want to be listed, hey, I don't know what to tell you because that person was a troll. I cut them off the minute they began to talk. They probably going to, but they gonna call. They better not call from an unknown number. All right, hold on. We got one. Let's see who this is. All right, we have a 804 area code. Who am I speaking with?
Yes, this is Easy from Central Virginia.
From where?
Central Virginia. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
Well, I'm thinking that there also, I don't know if everyone said this, but there should also be a component in reparations of us being cut out of affirmative action. We've lost a great deal of wages and promotions and government jobs over that long period of time where, well, I guess a 6 period of time of us not being able to take, especially black men, not being able to truly take advantage of affirmative action at all.
Right, because affirmative action was supposed to be for us, but we know it went to mainly white women. It's amazing how much they still complain when they are the hugest benefactors of it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I think that that has to be added to some of our rhetoric. So we can make it a more how should I put it? We can make it connect that to it. That's a little more current. So we can say, okay, these are also the effects of slavery, a culture that ripped us off from even a program that was created to restore us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, it's just a thought. I just figured, if I could add my little 2 cents there, that that's a lot of money and a lot of contracts that we were cut out of. And hell,
oh, most definitely.
When they drag in the immigrants to cut us out of, especially black men, out of the construction jobs and railroad jobs and things like that, that should be included in there too.
Exactly. And see, that's what a lot of the foreign-born blacks don't get, is that when they came over here, they already had a leg up.
Right.
They got the leg that they got the leg up we were supposed to get, and then for them to sit there and say that we're lazy and start using them white talking points like the pull yourself up by your bootstraps talk, then it becomes disingenuous, and it's like at that point you just like, okay, I got to tell you about yourself. You got this, that, and the third because you are this, that, and the third. If you were in the same situation as me, you wouldn't have gotten that.
Right. And look at what's going on with the, I guess, the families at the border. It's a terrible thing to have families divided and so on and so forth. But a lot of them are getting lodging and free and
yes.
meals and things like that.
Yes.
Off taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, there was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there was an article that had came out. Maybe you're probably talking about that. And there was an article that came out where it said that the people at the border or something like that got like $4.5 billion.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, with this opioid plague, them giving them money to get that Narcan and get those safe injection sites or put them in rehab, that's a form of reparations for them. Because, when crack was around, we didn't get that.
Right, and that should be included into it as well. Not only did they make us a contagion to wealth, they made us just a pariah, to not be supported in any way, shape, or form other than to benefit other groups. You can't imagine, the unimaginable cost behind that. All those organizations that were propped up, nonprofit and others that were put together based on the suffering of black folks, and black folks don't receive 1 red cent from those organizations or 1 lick of help. It goes on. These are more current things that they have done. When we talk about redlining and Jim Crow and all those other things, these are things that they have done currently to cheat black folks out as well. So
exactly.
It goes on and on and on, brother. And I really appreciate you
about a year now. I think I was watching PBT, and then he shouted your name out one night.
Shout out to Professor Black Truth. Like I owe him a great deal because a lot of people don't know, when I had lost my original channel, and this is right around the time when Professor Black Truth had just discovered who I was, and I was actually shocked. And he actually shouted me out on his channel, on his original channel. And I ended up getting a boost because of that. And then soon after, he lost his channel. And I don't think he recreated a channel right away. I think he went onto Twitter to build a following over there and then came back on to YouTube. And what ended up happening is I said, you know what, I'm going to pay it forward. So what I did was when he came back onto YouTube, he was starting to promote his Twitter account real heavy. So I and a couple of others would promote his Twitter account, and people would come over asking, Torian, where is Professor Black Truth? Because I know you cool with him. I said, I only know him through YouTube. It's not like we be sitting talking on the phone or anything like that. And and I said he's on Twitter. Here's his Twitter account. Just go over there and follow him. I remember when he was saying, and it was actually a test. A lot of people don't know it was a test. It was a test to see if people would actually follow direction and actually create a Twitter account and follow him over there. It was a slow start at first because a lot of people probably didn't have a Twitter account, but now he actually has way more followers than me over there, and I've been on it longer than him.
Right. Well, I don't know who the brother is, but I tell you, I think that there's quite a few black men that look forward to this broadcast.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I remember when he did a marathon of Joe Biden videos. Right. Like he did a plethora of Joe Biden videos exposing him, like for almost pretty much like a week and a half straight, and they were all different videos. Like they really didn't all repeat the same thing. So like the most recent one he did was talking about black men have stopped voting. When will black women do the same thing? And I think that was pretty much in response to that debate that happened last night.
Oh yeah, that political theater last night was absolutely.
I didn't even watch it. I didn't entertain it whatsoever. Bro. So it's like because I already knew what to expect. I didn't want to waste my time.
You were right, brother. 3 seconds on reparations. Marianne Williamson says what? That's why reparations. They cut her off, and she was never allowed to speak again throughout the rest of the debate.
I heard.
Yeah.
That lets you know what they think. So it's like, we know what you want. I said, y'all must really want Trump back in office that bad, don't you? And we don't even have to vote for him or none of that. But I said, we'll see. We will see you in 2020.
Right. We rather honest racists than these fakes that are just shrugging us off. It's just amazing how the Democrats have the audacity to say that Trump is bad for the country when we have all these clips of them just saying terrible things to black folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, clip after clip, either them or their associates have said things terrible to black people that they would never say to any other constituency at all.
Exactly.
Not a loyal one like that. That is just, where is their democracy? What sort of relationship do we have with them? Oh, I know. We're their pets.
Mm-hmm.
So, we run and vote when they tell us to run and vote. We support their campaigns when they tell us to support their campaigns.
Exactly. Meanwhile, you got people like Van Jones saying black people got to save democracy. I said, you can go save democracy by yourself.
Ask Van Jones what happened to his green economy. He had this big book. And then ask him about, this is 9/11 truth. That, this is a guy that jumps from movement to movement, trying to find his niche, and then he has the audacity to talk about black folks who are suddenly being bulwarked towards the issue of reparations. That we need to sacrifice things. The man's proven himself to be a whore. So why do we need to talk to a whore? Or understand, obey a whore.
Right.
A media whore.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, it was good talking to you. I'm gonna try to see if I can get to some more people.
Brother, keep doing what you do.
Okay.
Take care.
Right, Mimi does say they say blacks are lazy who work harder than blacks slaves. Oh boy, exactly. All right, I got another one. Let's see who this is. 347 area code. Who am I speaking with?
you?
Hello.
Hello?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had your mic muted. Well, who is this?
Stephanie Du, how you doing?
And how are you?
I'm okay, and yourself? I just want to say that I'm so proud of you. I just want to give you a big, big up.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be joining you much sooner than you think. And,
Good. Like I said,
know,
we need many a lot of like-minded voices.
Yes, we have to be. We have to spread the word. We got to keep the people informed. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we do need that reparation. And despite what anybody has to say, somebody has to keep speaking about it, because if you talk about it for a month or two and then you stop, then it just goes and gets swept under the carpet.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we need voices. And I can't wait. I'm going to start a YouTube channel hopefully before the end of the year. But hopefully we can link up and keep subjects like this going.
Oh, most definitely.
And for the thing, the last caller said about that drug addiction and everything should be included in reparations. All of the things that's happened. I grew up in the 70s. I'm a child of the 70s, and you watch the effects of what heroin does to people. You watch the effects of what crack cocaine has done to people, and it's a generational lifetime effect. And it doesn't have to affect you physically, but it can definitely affect you physically. And sometimes it's, the children that were born addicted to crack that have developmental problems.
Mm-hmm.
You see in increased cases of autism is on the rise, ADHD, the effects of some like behavioral problems like, schizophrenia. You see certain things, bipolar disorders. You see all of these things popping up ever since this crack era started.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not going to say everybody was smoking crack at that time and, it's high cases of it, but a lot of these cases is stemming from it.
Exactly. That crack era still has lingering effects to this day.
Yep, generational. It's affecting the kids and it's affecting the grandkids. And somebody could be clean for like 25, 30 years. They decide that they want to start a family, with somebody, 15, 20 years or whatever, and they decide they want to start a family and they're wondering why their kid have all these problems. You got to think about what happened.
Exactly.
And not just that, it's the food, the stuff that we're eating, the stuff that's being put in food. There was a story that the scientists had did that they was just pouring stuff in water.
I can believe it.
Giving people in certain areas, huh?
I said I can believe it.
That's causing high cases of diabetes in certain black areas. So, we just have to be careful. But that's pretty much all I had to say, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
All right. I appreciate it, and hurry up and get that YouTube channel started.
You got it. Take care.
All right. But yeah, like I said, they owe us a lot for a lot of stuff that they put us through. Andre, then you said the CIA, our own government, created the crack. Yeah, because Richard Nixon or Tricky Dick Nixon, or the guy who was working for him, came out and said that the crack era or the crack epidemic was specifically for black people, and they call it the war on drugs, but it was really a war on black people. I'm gonna probably stay on here till 7, so about 16 more minutes. Are y'all enjoying the call-in feature? Because I'm gonna be honest, I am. because I get to engage with y'all even more on here. He said, don't forget heroin. Yeah, back then heroin definitely affected black folks. But now we see the tide has turned immensely. When I have that call-in feature, it makes me feel like I'm on a radio show, like I'm a radio host. And I've heard that I do have a voice for radio from a lot of people. And ironically, my degree was in mass communications and broadcasting. Puzzle 24/7 365. This is my first time using it. This is the first time I have ever used it. I downloaded the Skype app yesterday, got the number, and decided to use it today because I knew people would want to speak about this. I was kind of upset with the Petty Pendergrass video that I had did yesterday about Beth Chapman, because I had muted the music in there. So I guess you can say that was the acapella version of a Petty Pendergrass production. But there will be another one that is coming tomorrow. And I think many of you can pretty much just about guess who it's going to be about. Is there a link for what app? Easy Be Easy. Puzzle 24/7. If I can get off that day, I will definitely go. I wish it was a little bit closer though, because you gotta think, going out that way, you might run into rush hour traffic around that time. So that's one thing you don't like to have to deal with. Mark said we're gonna get violence for Meth Chapman right now. Oh, it's Skype. Easy Be Easy. The thing, what I'm using is Skype. He said that he got life. Yeah, I know he got life. I knew he couldn't get anything less than life. A lot of people didn't believe me when I say he was going to get life in prison. But I knew he was going to get life. It was no way he was going to get out of that. But I am glad that this discussion of reparations is finally being had. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad that it's staying out there. And like Stephanie said, it needs to stay out there. It's not one of those things that needs to come and then it just gets buried, because they wanted to get buried very badly. Okay, let's see. I got another person calling. All right, I have a 706 area code. Who am I speaking with?
Yes, Starring. This is Angus. I'm in the chat room. I've been a subscriber to you for a pretty good while now, a couple of years now.
Oh, okay.
And I enjoy your work, enjoy everything you do, enjoy all your commentaries. Big fan of your channel. I just want to say that this whole conversation for reparations is way overdue, long overdue, because we should have, in my opinion, we should have been having this conversation during the first term for Obama, during his first two terms. And, I always figure out, why when we as black people having this conversation, 9-10 years ago when he was getting elected, we should have been pushing for it then. And I'll even go on to say, I'm not scared to say, I didn't vote for Obama for either one of his terms, because I'm not, when he was first getting elected in 2008, I almost did. I'm not going to lie. I kind of fell for the hype a little bit. I was caught up in all the hype of a quote-unquote first black president. But then, I started really sitting back and thinking about it. I started reading a lot of Claude Anderson's work. I started listening to, Francis Cress Welsing. I started reading up on a lot of these people, especially what Claude Anderson was saying. And, I started kind of wising up to it. And, I kind of knew, I'm not going to say, necessarily I was like a psychic, but I kind of knew they were about to pull some kind of trick bags, because out of all of the things that Obama was talking about doing during his first term, even his second term, I always wonder how come reparations wasn't being brought up. I'm like, if you're quote unquote this first black president, reparations should be the first thing you should be thinking about and bringing up. So I always thought that was suspicious right there. So, for the first term, I just didn't vote for him. And especially for the second term, I didn't vote either. So, I think now that Trump is in office, I'm not a fan of Trump either, but I think now that he's in office, it's woken a lot of, black people like us. It's given us a platform, especially people like you, to go out and really speak and put your voice out there, because now we're in a position of where I think a lot of us are waking up, and we're just leaving the Democrats, and we're realizing that the Democrats, they never really had our best interest in mind. The Republicans don't either, but the Republicans don't either, but the Democrats, they never had our best interest in mind. And basically, I've come to realize over the years, all the politics is white supremacists. They run politics on both sides. And, whenever it's not working for them, they switch sides, because, as I'm pretty sure years ago, decades ago, the white supremacists, they were the Democrats. They just switched parties when it wasn't working for them anymore.
Two wings on the same exact bird. It don't matter which way you try to cut it. And it's amazing because you have a lot of people who try to campaign to us on which side to go to. I'm like, neither one is good for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they automatically think every time, they always like to try to say that when they mention liberal and stuff like that, a lot of the times they're talking about us in subliminals, as if we are always going to vote Democrat and things of that nature. Like, listen, a lot of us aren't falling for it. And to be honest, they hate when we don't fall for either one of them. They hate when we make up our own decision. That's probably one of the reasons why those two that Talib Kweli and that other clown, the clown comedian in my mentions, was upset, because when I said I'm not voting for either one, I'm not voting for Trump and everything like that, they assumed me not voting for Trump was me voting for Trump. Like, huh? Like, please make that make sense. If I'm not voting for anybody, that just means I'm not exercising my right to vote. Neither one of those individuals speak to me, and they're not speaking to us. They're just blowing a bunch of smoke.
Yes, exactly. And I specifically remember, the night that, a couple of days, and the night that Trump got elected, and a couple of days afterward, I'm pretty sure you saw it too. On Twitter, it was just people outraged, people mad because I didn't vote in the last election. I'm pretty sure you didn't vote either. I just telling people I didn't vote. And, a lot of the people that voted for Hillary that are still, want to be on the Democratic plantation, they were just outraged, like, how can you not vote?
Yes.
When your ancestors died for your right to vote. And I'm like, look, nobody in this election was talking about reparations, was specifically talking about doing anything for us as black people. And so, I just said to hell with it. I'm not voting for anybody. They're not thinking about me. They don't have my interest in mind. And, they were still just like, well, you still should have voted. It doesn't matter. You should just vote because it's your right. It's a privilege. And I'm just like, look, whatever. You want to stay on that Democratic plantation, go ahead. I'm not doing it.
It was so funny to me when Hillary had lost the election. All them wet eyes in the crowd. I'm like, did y'all actually think she was going to win? Like, do y'all not know how the Electoral College has more power than the popular vote? That's why they created the Electoral College, to ensure people like her did not win.
Yeah, I know.
Like I said, am I happy Trump is in office? No. A lot of people are not, except for his staunch supporters, and usually the ones who are like that are looking for a pat on the head and a kiss on the ass. But we are not happy that he's in office, mainly because we know he's not qualified for the position. But then again, many of them are not.
Oh, they aren't.
But if those people who are on the Democratic side right now, who are campaigning or running, if that's the best they can offer, he's going to get reelected. And like I said in my tweet, we don't have to go out and run to the poll to vote for him. He's going to get in regardless whether we vote for him or not. And besides, we all know that the national election, our votes really don't count anyway, because we saw that with the previous election and how he got in with less of a popular vote than Hillary did. Everyone knows that when it comes to voting, it really is more so on the local level.
Yeah, but no, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next year. It's gonna be real interesting.
It definitely. 2020 is going 20, because it's, you want to know what's so interesting too, because 2020 we're about to enter into the third decade of the 2000s. So it's 20 years since 2000. We're about to enter that third cycle. So it's gonna be very very interesting to see everything leading up. People gonna be on edge like in the coming months, like leading up to November. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But like I said, I have a feeling that Trump is gonna get reelected. And that's not me saying this in excitement, because it's not like I'm excited that it's going to happen. I'm saying it because I'm living in reality. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Trump lose that election, I'll eat my couch and live stream it.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
Like I said before, keep doing what you're doing on your channel. I'll keep supporting. And I look forward to you doing more of these in the future.
Oh, most definitely. Like I said, I do plan to go live more often. To be honest, I was only going to go live once this week, and that was from a couple days ago. But when I had got into it on Twitter, about that situation, I said, let me go ahead and do a live stream about this. And I said, this would be the perfect time to implement my new call feature. You got anything else to say?
Oh, no, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to call in and chop it up with you.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
You too. But yeah, to be honest, I'm actually about to end the stream in a couple minutes. I'm trying to see if there's anything else people were saying in the chat. I'm not going to post the number anymore. But I will definitely be doing more live streams like this. And sometimes I wish I had this call-in number when I did those variety of topics the other day, because then the conversation really could have expanded, because it was a plethora of things to talk about. But there would be more conversations like that to be had. And of course, I have the number so people can call in if they have anything they'd like to say. Auntie, you said no, eating your couch is very possible. As the people that have pica disorder. You know what's so funny, Auntie? There was this show, I don't know if you ever heard of it, called My Strange Addiction, and it was one lady on there who had an addiction to eating her mattress cushion. I kid you not. And she was a black woman too. One time she said she ate an entire mattress cushion, and when she ran out, she ran to go into her mother's bedroom and started eating on her cushion. It's very weird. Very weird. Easy B said reparations should include ADOS getting an unassailable foothold in Narcan RX introduced. Hey, sign me up. If there's a stock in it for it, sign me up. Yeah, Lamel Prince. Go, if you get a chance, go on the YouTube and type in My Strange Addictions, and I'm sure her story will come up. Over the Vimalaje knows exactly what I'm talking about. Is that she was sneaking pieces of her mom's cushion to eat. Yep, she sure was. She would take pieces off the cushion of the mattress and like sneak it in her shirt or put it in her pocket and then just start pulling it out and just start eating it like it was cake. All right, y'all, I'm about to actually get up off here. I've been on here for almost 2 hours, and I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about. I do appreciate all of you for tuning in. Shout out to Mark for the donation. Shout out to everybody who called in. Quincy, you just got here, and I'm actually about to just leave. I think the next time I do a live stream, I have to maybe do it on a weekend because, you know I will probably get more views on the weekend because people are off. I don't know when what weekend that will be, but I'll find one and, I'll do one then at a decent time, probably around the same time. I'll have to be off that day myself. But the playback will be available. I'm going to leave it up so y'all can go back and listen to what was discussed and, listen to the people who called. But like I said, shout out to everybody who called. Shout out to Mark for the donation. Shout out to the people in the chat, all the mods, all of that good stuff. The 9 o'clock upload will be coming up, of course, at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. There was no 5 p.m. upload because I don't like to have my live streams conflict with the videos because the views will be kind of off between people watching this and trying to watch that. So I'm playing, how a lot of, I guess you could say how mainstream media does it when they have a live broadcast of something that's very important. They won't air certain shows in those slots because they know they'll lose views. So I'm playing it smart. With that being said, I'm going to get off of here. Y'all have a good rest of your Friday. Y'all have a good and safe weekend. And I will talk to you all in the next one.